The night was heavy with silence. Outside, the alien city glowed with bright towers and flying lights. But inside the great mansion on the hill, there was only stillness. The mansion belonged to her millionaire alien mother, rich beyond measure, respected by many, feared by some. Yet, behind her golden gates, her heart was chained in sorrow. The long halls were filled with treasures, glowing crystals, rare metals, and ancient paintings. Servants moved carefully, their voices soft, their steps quiet. No one dared to speak too loud, for in the center of that mansion lived the daughter, the fragile girl, trapped in her chair. Her legs had not moved in years. She was once bright like the stars, running through the gardens, laughing with her friends. But now, she sat motionless, her big eyes staring at windows where she once played. Her mother watched her every day. The alien mother had all the wealth anyone could dream of, yet none of it mattered. Jewels could not make her daughter walk. Gold could not heal broken nerves. Power could not bring back hope. Every evening, when the mansion grew quiet, she sat in her daughter's room. The girl's voice was soft, almost like a whisper. "Mother, will I ever walk again?" The question cut deeper than any knife. The mother would smile, pretending to be strong, but her chest burned with pain. She promised things she didn't believe in. She told her daughter that one day, the stars might give a miracle. But inside, she had lost faith long ago. One stormy night, as thunder rolled over the alien hills, a strange sound broke the silence. The guards at the front gate raised their weapons. A visitor was coming, not in a shining ship, but on foot. His clothes were torn, his eyes tired, and his steps heavy. "A human," the servants whispered in shock. What was a human doing here, in this city where aliens ruled with pride? Some wanted to throw him out at once, but something in his eyes made them pause. The guards led him inside, suspicious. He carried no weapon, no treasure, only a small case in his hand. When the alien mother entered the grand hall, her sharp gaze fell upon him. He bowed slightly, respectful but not weak. "I heard," he said in a calm voice, "that your daughter has not walked for many years." The mother froze. No one dared to speak so directly. She narrowed her eyes. "And why should a stranger from another world speak of my pain?" The human held up the small case. "Because I may have a way." The hall grew colder. The servants exchanged nervous glances. The mother's heart raced, torn between anger and desperate hope. Could this human be telling the truth? Or was he just another trickster, coming for her wealth? Her daughter, hearing the words, stirred in her chair. Her weak voice floated through the hall. "Mother, please, let him try." The alien mother clenched her fists. Every instinct told her not to trust. She had seen many so-called healers come and fail. Each failure left her daughter more broken, more hopeless. Yet this human stood with eyes that carried no greed, only something else. She studied him carefully. His face was lined with scars, his hands rough, as if he had carried heavy burdens. This was no ordinary traveler. There was weight in his silence, and a strange sadness in his eyes. Thunder shook the mansion again. The golden chandeliers swayed. The mother finally spoke, her voice trembling between command and fear. "If you lie," she warned, "if you harm my daughter, I will end you with my own hands." The human did not flinch. He placed the case gently on the marble floor and opened it. A soft glow filled the hall. Inside rested a small, ancient-looking device, humming with strange energy. The mother had never seen such a thing. The servants gasped, covering their mouths. Even the girl leaned forward, her eyes wide. "What is that?" the mother whispered. The human's lips curved in the faintest shadow of a smile. A chance, the glow reflected in the girl's eyes, filling them with hope for the first time in years. The mother felt her chest tighten. She had prayed for this moment, yet now that it stood before her, it terrified her more than anything. What if it worked? What if it failed? What if this stranger was more dangerous than he appeared? The silent mansion, for years drowned in sorrow, now held something it had forgotten long ago. Suspense. The storm outside grew louder. Lightning flashed across the tall windows. The mother looked at her daughter, then at the human. And for the first time in many years, she didn't know what would happen next. The storm still echoed around the mansion, thunder rolling like drums of war. The human stood in the great hall, his small glowing device resting on the floor. Every eye was fixed on him. The servants whispered in fear. Some even stepped back, afraid of the strange light. The alien mother did not move. Her tall figure, wrapped in a silver robe, stood like stone. Her heart beat fast, but her face showed only cold suspicion. She spoke at last. "Humans are wanderers. You travel far, but you have nothing. Why should I believe you have something greater than my people, greater than our doctors, greater than our science?" The human raised his eyes. They were calm, but heavy, as if carrying pain he had never spoken about. His voice was steady. "Because I have seen this device work, not on your kind, but on mine." He knelt, placing his scarred hands near the glowing machine. "It saved someone once, a boy who could not move. I don't know why I still carry it, maybe because I knew I would need it again." The alien mother's eyes narrowed. She did not trust easily. Too many had tried and failed. Too many had lied for gold. "And what do you want from me?" she asked sharply. "Name your price." The human shook his head. "No price, only a chance." The hall grew colder. Even the servants froze. No one had ever refused the mother's wealth before. She was a millionaire, she could buy anything. But this man, this fragile-looking human, stood before her and said he wanted nothing. Her daughter's eyes filled with light. "Mother, please," she whispered again, her voice weak but pleading. "Let him try. For me." The mother turned to her child. That looked the hope in her eyes she had not seen in years. Her chest ached, torn between fear and love. She finally gestured to the guards. "Bring him to her room. But if he lies, you know what to do." The guards obeyed, their weapons never leaving the human's back as they led him down the long corridor. The girl's chamber was large, filled with soft lights and flowing curtains. The scent of rare flowers floated in the air, gifts from across galaxies. Yet despite the beauty, the room was heavy with sadness. In the center stood the chair, the prison where the daughter spent her days. The human entered quietly, his eyes studying every detail, but never wandering with greed. He moved straight to the girl. He placed the device gently near her chair. The hum grew stronger, like a heartbeat. The daughter reached out her trembling fingers. She wanted to touch it, but fear stopped her. "Will it hurt?" she asked softly. The human shook his head. "Not pain. Just a pressure, like your body remembering something it forgot." The mother stepped forward, standing tall behind her child. Her voice was sharp. "If she suffers even for a second." The human raised his hand. "I know." His tone was quiet, but strong. "I don't play with lives." The device glowed brighter. Strange symbols appeared in the air, moving like whispers of light. The mother gasped. She had never seen such language. Even her libraries, filled with ancient alien scrolls, did not hold these marks. The human touched the device. His hand shook slightly. The glow spread across the room, wrapping around the girl's legs like a gentle stream. Her eyes widened. She felt something she thought she would never feel again. Her toes twitched. It was small, almost invisible, but the mother saw it. Her eyes went wide, and her breath caught in her throat. The girl gasped, staring at her own feet. "Mother, I felt that. I felt it." The mother's hands trembled. She had dreamed of this moment for years, but now that it was here, it felt unreal. The human's face remained calm, though sweat rolled down his brow. He whispered something under his breath, words the aliens did not understand. His scars seemed to burn as the glow wrapped tighter. But then, as quickly as it began, the light faded. The device went dark, the room falling silent again. The daughter breathed hard, her eyes wet. It worked. It really worked. The mother turned to the human, her voice shaking with fury and hope mixed together. "Why did you stop? Why not finish it?" The human sat back, his hand pressed to his chest. His face was pale. "Because if I force it, her body will break. It must be done slowly, one step at a time. If you want her healed, you must trust me." The mother's heart pounded. She hated trust. She hated giving power to a stranger. Yet her daughter's shining eyes begged her silently. The storm outside roared louder. The mansion felt alive, like fate itself had entered its walls. The mother whispered, almost to herself, "Who are you, human?" The man looked at her with tired eyes, filled with secrets. "Someone who knows what it means to lose everything, And in that moment, she realized this human was more dangerous and more valuable than she had ever imagined. The storm passed by morning, but the mansion did not find peace. Servants whispered in the corridors, their voices sharp with fear. The story of what they had seen spread like fire. The human's machine had made the young mistress move her toes. Some called it a miracle. Others called it dangerous. In her chamber, the alien mother did not sleep. She sat by her daughter's side, staring at the small device on the table. It looked fragile, old, almost broken. Yet last night, it had done what no alien medicine, no galactic healer, had ever managed. Her daughter kept smiling in her chair, her eyes brighter than ever. She whispered again and again, as if afraid the memory would fade. I felt it. Mother, I really felt it. But the mother's heart was not calm. Miracles did not come free. She knew this too well. The human entered the room at dawn, his steps heavy, his face pale. He looked weaker than the night before, as though the machine had drained something from him. Still, he carried himself with quiet strength. The mother turned sharply. You will explain, she demanded. What is this device? Where did it come from? And why? Why does it take your strength? The human's lips tightened. He did not answer at once. Instead, he walked to the table and touched the device gently, almost like a man touching a wound that never healed. It was not built by me, he said at last. His voice was low, almost a whisper. It was found, long ago, hidden beneath ruins on a forgotten world. My people never understood it fully, but I saw what it could do, and I knew it must be protected. The mother frowned. Protected? From whom? The human lifted his eyes. For the first time, there was fire in them. From those who would use it for power. Because this is no simple healing tool. It rewrites the body. It speaks to the cells, commands them to remember life. If placed in the wrong hands, it could build armies from the broken, soldiers who never fall. The mother's breath caught. She had lived among empires, had seen kings rise and fall. She understood well the hunger of rulers. A device like this would not heal the weak, it would create endless war. And yet, she whispered, you bring it here, to my home, to my child. The human's jaw tightened. He looked at the daughter, his gaze softening. Because she is not a weapon. She is a child who deserves to walk. The girl's lips trembled. She looked at him with wide eyes. Why? Why are you helping me? For a moment, silence filled the room. The human's face was unreadable, but his hands clenched at his sides. Because once, he said slowly, I couldn't save the one I loved, and I swore, if I was given another chance, I would not fail again. The mother stared at him. In that moment, she saw something deeper, grief buried in his scars, a shadow of loss carried across stars. But before she could speak, a sudden noise echoed through the corridor. Loud, sharp, urgent. The heavy steps of armored boots. The guards rushed in, their weapons raised. My lady, one shouted. Intruders at the southern gate, armed and asking for the human. The mother's heart froze. Her eyes snapped toward the man. You led them here? The human shook his head fiercely. No, but they were bound to come. I told you this device cannot stay hidden forever. There are those who will kill to claim it. The daughter gasped, clutching her blanket. Mother, they'll take him away. They'll take the only one who can help me. The mother's mind spun. Her mansion had walls of stone, guards with blasters, riches enough to bribe an army, but none of that could stop what she saw in the human's eyes. He was not surprised. He had expected this, and that terrified her. The human lifted the device again. The glow returned, faint but alive. We don't have time, he said. If you want your daughter healed, we must continue now. But once I begin, I cannot stop. The mother's voice was cold, but her hands shook. If you touch her again, and she suffers, I will bury you beneath this house. The human gave a tired smile. Then you had better pray I succeed. The glow spread once more, filling the room with soft light. The girl's eyes widened, her lips parting as warmth surged through her legs. And outside, in the storm-soaked streets, dark figures forced their way past the gates, their voices echoing with one demand, bring us the human. The silent mansion was silent no more. The mansion trembled with noise. Outside, intruders clashed with the guards. Metal rang against metal, and blasts of energy lit the night sky. Servants hid in corners, covering their ears. For years, the mansion had been a quiet fortress. Now, it was a battlefield. Inside the chamber, the glow of the device bathed the young girl's body. Her legs twitched again, stronger this time. A spark of life returned to her limbs. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I can feel it. I can feel them." But her mother did not celebrate. She stood tall at the window, her sharp eyes watching shadows move across the gardens. Her mind burned with questions. Who were these intruders? How did they know about the human? And could she trust him at all? She turned sharply. "Did you bring this danger to my home?" The human did not stop his work. His face was pale, his hands steady as he controlled the device. "No, but danger follows the device. It always does." His voice was calm, but the mother's heart twisted with suspicion. He claimed to help, but how could she be sure? What if he was playing a long game, healing her daughter, only to earn her trust, then stealing everything? Her daughter's weak hand reached for her mother's arm. "Please, don't doubt him," she whispered. "I can walk again." "I know it." But the mother's mind was sharp. She had built empires, defeated rivals, survived betrayals. Wealth made her powerful, but also a target. She had learned long ago trust is a knife that cuts the foolish. She stepped closer to the human, her voice low, almost dangerous. "Why does the device drain your strength? Why must you suffer for it to work? If it is so powerful, why not let others use it?" The human lifted his tired eyes. Shadows under them revealed sleepless nights, endless battles. "Because it is not just a machine. It bonds with the one who carries it. It answers to me, and me alone. If someone else forces it, it will burn the body instead of heal it." The mother's chest tightened. His words rang true, but they also made him even more dangerous. He held power no one else could control. A sharp sound broke her thoughts, the crash of the southern doors. The intruders were inside. The guards shouted, their voices echoing down the halls. The mother snapped toward her captain. "Seal this chamber. Let no one enter." "Yes, my lady," the guard replied, rushing out with his men. The mother turned back to the human. His hands trembled, his skin slick with sweat, yet he kept going. The glow grew brighter around the girl's legs. She gasped, her fingers digging into her chair. "It's working. It's really working." The mother wanted to believe. She wanted to fall to her knees and thank him. But shadows of doubt gnawed at her heart. Was this miracle too dangerous? Would saving her daughter cost her everything else? And most of all, was the human truly her savior, or the thief who would destroy her world? The storm of fear inside her grew stronger when the door shook violently. Bang, bang. A voice thundered from the other side. "Give us the human, and no blood will be spilled." The mother's eyes blazed. No one ordered her, not in her own house. She shouted back, "You dare enter my walls? You will leave in pieces." The daughter trembled, her weak voice breaking. "Mother, don't send him away, please. I need him." The human lifted his hand from the device. His chest rose and fell, breath ragged. He looked at the alien mother, his eyes steady even in exhaustion. "They will not stop," he said quietly. "They know what this device can do. If you protect me, they will hunt you as well. Are you ready for that burden?" The room went cold. For a moment, time itself seemed to stop. The alien mother looked at him, then at her daughter's trembling smile. Two paths stood before her, one filled with doubt and fear, the other filled with risk and fragile hope. Her voice came out in a whisper, but strong enough to shake the chamber. "Then let them come. I will never betray my child." The human gave the faintest smile, a shadow of relief crossing his face. But before anyone could breathe again, the chamber doors exploded inward. Smoke and sparks filled the air. Dark figures stormed inside, their weapons raised. The mansion had fallen, and in the chaos, no one saw the faint crack spread across the device's glowing surface, as if it carried a dangerous secret waiting to break free. The chamber shook with smoke and fire as the doors burst open. Shadows filled the room, armored intruders with glowing weapons, their faces hidden behind dark masks. They moved fast, like hunters who had tracked their prey for years. "Stand aside," one of them shouted, his voice sharp and metallic. "The human belongs to us. Hand over the device." The alien mother stood tall, her silver robe flowing like a shield. She spread her arms in front of her daughter. "You dare step into my house and demand what is mine. You will leave with nothing but your corpses." Her guards rushed forward, clashing with the intruders in a storm of light and steel. Sparks flew, blood spilled, and the once silent mansion became a battlefield in the chaos. The human pulled the device close. The faint crack on its surface glowed dangerously, but he ignored it. He placed it near the girl once more. "Listen to me," he whispered, his voice urgent. "You must stand. Not for me, not for her, but for yourself." The girl trembled. Fear and hope warred inside her. I can't, you can," he said firmly, his eyes burning with something unshakable. "The device is only the spark. The rest must come from you." She stared at him, her breath quick, her heart pounding. Her mother's cries filled the air. The clash of weapons thundered around them but for her. The world grew quiet. Slowly, the glow wrapped around her legs again. She felt warmth, pressure, pain, and then strength, something she had not known in years. Her fingers clutched the armrest of her chair. She pushed. The chair creaked. Her legs trembled violently. Her feet touched the floor, and for the first time since her tragedy, they held her weight. Her eyes widened in shock. She was standing. The human's voice cut through the chaos. "Now, walk." Her body screamed in protest. Every muscle felt like fire. But step by step, she moved, one foot, then the other. Her mother turned in time to see it. In the middle of the battlefield, through the haze of smoke and light, her daughter was walking, shaking, stumbling. But walking. The mother's jewel-studded cup fell from her hand, shattering on the marble floor. Tears blurred her vision. She had dreamed of this day, prayed for it, begged for it, and now it was real. "Daughter," she whispered, her voice breaking. The intruders froze for a moment, stunned by the impossible sight. The girl, once paralyzed, stood on her own feet. Their leader snarled, fury twisting his face. "Take them both. Don't let the human finish what he started." The battle grew fiercer. Guards fell, intruders pushed forward. The mansion walls cracked, priceless treasures shattered, flames licked at the curtains. The girl stumbled forward, reaching her mother. "Mother, I'm walking," she cried, her voice trembling with joy and fear. The mother caught her in her arms, holding her tightly, as if she never wanted to let go. "Yes, my child. Yes, you are." But behind them, the human staggered. His hands shook violently, his face pale as death. The device's crack widened, glowing brighter, threatening to split apart. One of the intruders leapt at him, blade raised. The human barely dodged, slamming the attacker to the ground with desperate strength. His eyes met the mother's for a brief second. "This is only the beginning," he gasped. "But if the device breaks, it will end us all." The mother's chest tightened. She realized the truth. His miracle came with a price. The device was unstable, and the human's life was tied to it. Her daughter clung to her, her small body trembling, but standing. The miracle had begun, but so had the storm. The intruders regrouped, their leader raising his weapon high. "Kill the human. Take the device." The girl, still shaky, stepped in front of her mother. Her legs quivered, but her eyes burned with fire. "No," she whispered. "I won't let you." For the first time, the mother saw her daughter not as a fragile child, but as someone stronger than she had ever imagined. The human gave a faint smile, blood dripping from his lips. "That's it. The first step is always the hardest." The battle raged on, the mansion tearing apart around them. And yet, in the center of fire and chaos, a paralyzed girl had taken her first steps that would change everything. But none of them saw the small shard of energy breaking loose from the device, slipping unseen into the shadows, carrying with it a power that could awaken horrors far beyond their world. The grand chamber burned with fire and chaos. Guards and intruders fought with blinding energy. The walls cracked, priceless jewels shattered on the floor. Yet in the center of the storm stood the impossible, the young alien girl, once paralyzed. Standing tall on her trembling legs, the mother held her, tears streaming down her face. "My daughter, you walk." Her voice broke like glass, but joy could not last long. The human staggered backward, his hand clutching his chest. His skin was pale, his breath shallow. Each time the device glowed, it seemed to pull something out of him. His strength, his life, his very soul. The mother's sharp eyes caught it. She turned, fury mixing with fear. "You didn't tell me this. The healing, it's killing you." The human gave a weak laugh, though blood touched his lips. "Every miracle has a price. I knew it from the first time I used it." The girl gasped, rushing to him, her shaky legs carrying her across the broken marble. "No, you can't. Not for me." She fell to her knees beside him, clutching his arm with trembling hands. He placed his rough palm gently over hers. "Don't cry. This is the proof you are stronger than your curse. I only gave you the chance." The device flickered on the floor. The crack across its surface widened, glowing dangerously bright. Sparks flew out like angry lightning, striking the walls. Even the intruders hesitated, their leader barking in order to fall back. "Don't let it break," he shouted. "If it ruptures, this whole place will burn." The mother's heart raced. She was torn in half between the daughter she had just seen walk for the first time and the human who had sacrificed everything to make it happen. Her daughter clung to the human, sobbing, "Please, stop. Don't use it again, please." But the battle outside the chamber grew louder. The intruders pressed closer, weapons flashing. The mother's guards fell one by one. The mansion itself seemed to cry out, its ancient walls shaking under the storm of war. The human tried to rise, but his legs buckled. Still, he forced himself to his knees, his hand reaching for the unstable device. "I can't stop now. If I do, she might lose it again." The mother grabbed his wrist, her voice like steel. "If you touch it again, you will die. And if you die, I will have nothing but ashes left in my hands." The human met her gaze. For a moment, their eyes locked, alien and human, mother and stranger. In his tired eyes she saw no greed, no trickery, only a man carrying grief heavier than gold, choosing to give his life for a child not his own. A part of her heart, long frozen in sorrow, cracked open. She whispered, her voice trembling, "Why would you do this? Why my daughter?" The human's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Because once, I failed to save someone I loved, and I swore I'd never fail again. Not if I had a choice." The words hit her like a blade. She almost faltered, but the sound of crashing footsteps snapped her back. The intruders broke through the smoke, charging toward them. Their leader pointed his weapon at the human. "Enough, the device is ours. Step aside, or we will cut you down." The girl screamed, throwing herself in front of the human. Her legs shook violently, but she did not fall. She spread her arms, her small frame shielding him. "No, you won't touch him." The intruders froze for a heartbeat, stunned by her defiance. The mother stepped forward, her robe whipping in the hot air. "You will not take what is mine. Not my child. Not the one who gave her back her life." The human coughed, his voice faint but steady. "If they get the device, they'll turn it into a weapon. Promise me you'll protect her, even without me." The mother's throat tightened. For the first time in her powerful life, she felt powerless. A human fragile, broken, dying was teaching her what true strength looked like. The device sparked again, a scream of energy filling the room. Everyone covered their eyes as the crack split wider. The human reached out, one last time, his hand glowing with the same light as the machine. The girl clutched him desperately, her tears falling on his hand. "Please, don't leave me." The mansion shook violently. The choice hung heavy in the air: save the human, or save the device. But the truth was clear now. Healing was never free. Every miracle demanded a price, and the human had already paid more than anyone ever should. The mansion groaned like a dying beast. Walls cracked, smoke filled the halls, and the shattered chandeliers swung above like falling stars. The device on the floor pulsed with wild energy, its broken shell spilling light too bright to look at. The intruders circled, their weapons glowing. The leader stepped forward, his mask shining under the sparks. "Give me the device, or this house burns with you all." The alien mother stood in front of her daughter and the human, her voice sharp as steel. "If you want it, then you will step over my body." The intruders laughed coldly, but their steps faltered. Even they could feel it. The device was near collapse. To touch it now was to risk death. The human, coughing hard, pushed himself up. His body trembled, but his eyes burned with resolve. We can't let them take it. If it shatters in their hands, this world will fall. The mother turned sharply. Then what must be done? His gaze softened as he looked at the girl, who still clung to him. She must walk again, fully, now. That is the only way, the girl gasped, her legs shaking beneath her. I can't, not with them watching. Not with you, you can, the human whispered. His hand, weak but steady, touched hers. Every step you take is stronger than any weapon. Show them. The glow spread again, wrapping her body. She felt fire, pain, and power rushing through her veins. Her legs screamed, her bones trembled, but her heart was alive. Slowly, she rose from the ground, pushing against the weight of fear. One step forward. The floor cracked beneath her bare feet. Another step. The glow grew brighter, surrounding her like armor. The intruders froze, their eyes wide behind their masks. Impossible. One muttered. She kept walking, each step stronger than the last. The mother's tears fell freely, her hands covering her mouth in awe. My daughter, she whispered, voice breaking. The girl walked past her mother, past the human, and stood between them and the intruders. Her small frame glowed with the device's light, her hair flowing in the rising energy. She lifted her chin, her voice clear. You will not take him. You will not take what gave me hope. The light flared, blinding the intruders. The device cracked one final time and exploded not in fire, but in pure radiance. The blast swept across the chamber, throwing the intruders back like leaves in a storm. They screamed, their weapons melting in their hands, before fleeing into the smoke. When the light faded, the mansion was in ruins. The walls blackened, treasures broken, silence heavy once more. But in the center stood the girl. She was trembling, her breath heavy, yet her legs held her. She had walked through fire and had not fallen. The mother rushed to her, holding her tight. My child, my miracle. She sobbed openly, no longer a proud millionaire, but only a mother who had her daughter back. The human lay against the wall, blood staining his lips. His chest rose weakly. The girl broke free from her mother and stumbled to him, kneeling at his side. Don't leave me, she begged, her hands clutching his. You saved me. Please, let me save you. He smiled faintly, his voice barely a whisper. You already have. Every step you take is my life walking with you. Her tears fell onto his hand. She pressed her forehead to his. Then I will keep walking. For you. The mother knelt beside them, her hand trembling as she touched the human shoulder. You came to my home as a stranger. You leave it as family. The last glow of the shattered device sank into the girl's body, vanishing into her veins. She shivered, then stood once more, taller, stronger. The healing was complete. The human's eyes closed, his body limp. For a moment, silence filled the broken chamber. Then the girl whispered, No. He's still breathing. Weak, but alive. She lifted her gaze, her voice firm. We will not let him die. Not after all he has given. The mother rose, her silver robe torn and dirty, but her spirit burning. She looked out at the ruined mansion, at the smoke of the retreating intruders. For the first time in years, her heart carried not despair, but hope. Her daughter stood at her side, no longer trapped in a chair, but walking proudly on her own legs. The human lay in their care, fragile but not gone. The silent mansion was no longer silent. It had witnessed the birth of strength, the cost of sacrifice, and the first walk of a girl who would never be weak again. The mother whispered, almost to herself, this is only the beginning. And as the sun rose over the broken city, the girl took her first true steps into a future built not on wealth, but on courage and on the gift of a human who had given everything.